Good evening, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan John with this edition of Nate at 8. We are tracking some more showers and thunderstorms arriving late tonight into tomorrow morning. From there, it's occasional rain as we do extend going into Friday. We're dealing with the potential for not only severe weather concerns, but flooding concerns at this point as we do look ahead going into the weekend. So thanks so much for joining in. Let's jump into things, shall we? And like I mentioned, for this edition of Nate at 8 coming up, we will be tracking those storms returning overnight into Thursday morning. From there, it's occasional rain, even some thunderstorms still in the mix Thursday into Friday, and flooding, severe storms possible during the stretch. And the rain just continues this weekend. We're going to be watching for more potential for flooding. At least there's not so much maybe concern for severe weather, but certainly the potential for flooding still there as we go through the weekend. So there's a lot to track. So let's jump into our current temperatures right now across the area. And those current temperatures climbed into the 70s, even around mid-70s at the Wheeling High County Airport in the wake of that warm front passage that we had for this afternoon, that return in those thunderstorms early in the afternoon. We did have some severe thunderstorm warnings, dealt with hail and a lot of small hail primarily, but dealing with hail with those storms as they passed in the early afternoon. Did have another round of some showers and thunderstorms redeveloping into this evening. Now, as we get to sunset, these are tapering off, and we're going to be drying up at this point early on tonight, and then we're going to stay dry for a lot of tonight, only to have more showers and thunderstorms return into early tomorrow morning, late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And as you can see, well, we did have more numerous showers and even some thunderstorms in the mix earlier into the evening. At this point, that a lot of this activity is tapering off, and what remains won't stick around too much longer, and we're going to be drying up, at least briefly, because as we look back further towards the west, there's that line of showers and thunderstorms and dealing with plenty of severe threat continuing across portions of Illinois, Indiana. The severe risk even extends further south and across the Mississippi River Valley. In fact, the worst of this is staying towards are even further south towards the Mississippi River Valley, continuing across the southeast. That's where the significant severe weather event is happening going through this evening. But nonetheless, still dealing with tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings. Illinois, Indiana, don't want to, play that lightly. Just saying that the worst of this has been so far observed further south of Illinois, Indiana, but still, again, dealing with severe weather concerns across that area as well. And this is the line that we're going to be watching moving into the region late tonight. And by the time it does make its arrival, yes, it will start to weekend by the time it reaches us. The worst of what we're seeing here locally likely stays west of here, especially looking into western central Ohio. In terms of anything local, it's going to be further west of us that could still be dealing with severe weather going into the overnight hours. And then by the time it reaches us here in eastern Ohio, the northern panhandle, a lot of this should be weakening quite a bit by the time it reaches us. But nonetheless, we're going to keep a close eye on it because, like I mentioned, that potential is still there, even despite the late timing for at least a severe thunderstorms. Our futurecast model overdoing that precipitation a little bit, but certainly picking up on the fact that what did develop this evening is tapering off early on tonight. There's the dry period that will carry over, likely continuing past that midnight mark. Now, the time to watch is as we get closer to about 2 o'clock in the morning and then on, leading up to at least about 5 a.m. That's the window of time we'll be watching for this arrival, this next round of thunderstorms. Again, the potential is there for severe thunderstorm despite the late timing. That severe risk will fall off then Thursday as we get closer to daybreak, and especially Thursday morning's commute, but still plenty of showers to be had during the time period. We can see some thunderstorms redeveloping going into Thursday afternoon. Not a real high severe risk certainly on Thursday, but the potential's there as well for something isolated possibly when it comes to severe weather. On Thursday, what we'd be watching for would be the potential for some damaging winds, large hail, but again, I think this higher severe risk Thursday is going to stay further south of our area, but this is something else we'll watch for Thursday. This rain just occasional throughout the entirety of your Thursday, and by Thursday night is when we'll transition from more of a shower thunderstorm activity, more of a steady rain, and this rain can be heavy at times, still can get an embedded thunderstorm. This will carry over, again, the entirety of Thursday night into Friday morning, and yes, we do look to trend drier by the time we get into Friday afternoon. However, these models have been hinting at the potential for at least a few showers lingering going in the latter part of Friday. So we are drier later Friday, yes, but I think there's a potential for at least a few showers. They'll be lighter, but at least a few showers still remaining in place even later into the day Friday. And then the next round of more showers and maybe even some thunderstorms will be returning as early as Friday night into Saturday. And that'll just continue all the way through Sunday. So again, a lot of precipitation coming our way. Not many dry times to be had at all once we do see that next round move into the area, looking ahead, going through the remainder of the stretch through the weekend. So our severe weather outlook tonight into Thursday morning. Again, when the timing is going to be closer to and after, likely about 2 in the morning. So very late tonight and early tomorrow morning. That being said, make sure you do have multiple ways to get that warning. Make sure your wireless weather alerts are on your mobile phone. I believe that's standard. And so you would have had to turn that off, but just to make sure that those are on so your phone will go off in the event of if a tornado warning were happen to be issued later tonight, you do get that warning. NOAA Weather Radio is another great option. So your mobile phone, NOAA Weather Radio, those are the two best options to get warnings, especially for the overnight period. Behind that, of course, you have television, you have the internet. Both of those, of course, can go out when you lose power. So not ideal, but other ways to get that warning. It's just in general, good ways to have multiple ways, good advice to have multiple ways to get that warning. A lot of folks as well rely on outdoor tornado sirens. However, when we're dealing with some potential for heavy rain, hail, some gusty winds, that can all help muffle out that sound. So, in the event when we're dealing with that in the warning, you might not hear it inside. And I know if you live close enough, well, there's an exception, but yeah, certainly something that is not advisable to rely on in the event to get that warning. It's not one of those ways. It's more of a useful tool. It's meant to be used more so, obviously outside during the day. If you're out doing things during the day, driving, then it's meant to be used in that regard, but not so much to be used to be heard indoors. It's not always fully reliable way to get that warning indoors anymore. And again, you got to consider that real heavy rain and hail can really muffle the sound of that siren, where typically you could hear it a little bit in your house. And then when that happens, you're not hearing it at all. There's something to consider. The severe weather outlook then for Thursday, I already touched on this, but again, that severe risk likely going to be centered further south of our area Thursday. What we do see into Thursday afternoon, the potential there in terms of the threats would be more of a damaging wind and hail. And again, what we see arrive late tonight, the potential is there for damaging wind, hail, and even a tornado. So all threats on the table tonight. Tomorrow would be more of a damaging wind, hail if we were to see a severe thunderstorm develop, but not a real great risk, I don't think, for severe weather as we go throughout the day on Thursday. I think the bigger concern really Thursday into Friday is going to be this. Flooding concerns, flood watch in effect through Sunday morning for most of the area. And we're still anticipated to pile up a lot of rain coming our way. Anywhere from around 2 to 4 inches of rain is coming our way, right in that range. Good odds to see that much going through the remainder of tonight and then all the way through Sunday. So a lot of rain before it's all said and done. Thankfully, early next week, this weather does look to quiet down quite a bit, and we'll get a cool down at that point. We'll get back into temperatures 50s, 40s after dealing with temperatures more 60s, 70s for a lot of this stretch going through the weekend. Thankfully, the weather does quiet down quite a bit. Now, if the river forecast for our area as it stands now, not anticipated to reach flood stage. The Ohio River levels are anticipated to stay below flood stage, but we also have to keep in mind that those forecasts aren't always real accurate until we actually see the rain fall. Where we're dealing with the crest of those levels won't be until towards the end of the weekend, early next week. So that is something we'll keep a close eye on. We're dealing with a lot of rain. Those levels are likely going to rise quite a bit. And again, the crest won't occur likely until late this weekend, early next week. So even as a lot of this rain starts to taper off, that's when we'll be watching then for the crest of the water levels along the Ohio River. So something else, yes, that we're watching for. Where does this stand now? Not anticipated to reach flood stage, but again, that is something else to consider and keep a close eye on extending into early next week. All right, so I wanted to get through all that in case you had some questions that we were going to touch on and the severe weather concerns overnight as well as tomorrow, flooding concerns going into the weekend. So I just wanted to get through everything before I jumped in some of the comments. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Thank you all again for tuning in for this edition of Nate at 8 for your weather update. I appreciate it as always, joining in on these evenings with me as we cover the weather. So Christopher is joining us this evening saying, is the severe weather warnings in effect? Not for our area, right? Those severe weather warnings, the severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, those are all remaining well towards our west at this hour. Nothing in effect here locally. No threat for any severe weather here. Near term, that's going to be late tonight with that potential for severe thunderstorms. Let's see. Christopher says, I saw that the severe weather level's been upgraded to level 2 out of 5 for slight risk of severe weather. Yes, we are under a slight risk for severe weather, meaning the potential is there for some scattered severe thunderstorms. Again, really what to take away from it is that, the potential I think is there for a severe thunderstorm later tonight is a potential there to deal with a widespread severe weather concerns. Likely not by the time it reaches us. Again, they will be weakening likely over us as well. It could very well be more of a concern as they soon as they enter the area initially, maybe there's still a severe thunderstorm to be had, and then they continue to weaken over us. Again, obviously not to take it lightly. We're still going to watch it very closely overnight into tomorrow morning, but it does look like the more scattered, numerous severe thunderstorms, that's going to be more of a concern west of us, looking into central, western Ohio. That's where you could still have more numerous severe thunderstorms, where it is more of a widespread threat into the overnight hours. Renee's joining us saying it just rained in St. Sieg. Renee catching some of those lingering showers this evening before we dry back up into the first half of tonight. Suzanne says, will these storms weaken by the time they get to Carroll County? Yes, they likely will weaken some, Suzanne, by the time they're making their way into our area. So what we're seeing out west of us right now is certainly not a good reflection of we'll likely end up seeing arrive here. But, we're keeping an eye on it. Just like what we had Sunday night, we're going to be watching the storms, how they're maintaining their strength, moving across Ohio. And they had maintained enough strength into central Ohio Sunday night to go ahead and extend a watch in our area. But you'll notice by the time they actually made their way into our area, they really started to fall apart, especially along that I-77 corridor. Only one warning Sunday night. That was Tuscarawas, Carroll County. And then they fell apart quite a bit by the time they made their way in eastern Ohio. Not to say we're going to see a repeat of that, but again, we should see a weakening trend overall as they move through our area. Suzanne already mentioned it, kind of like Sunday night. Yeah, kind of like it. I don't want to say it's a repeat of Sunday night, but there should be in general a weakening trend as they make their way through our area and into the northern panhandle. That's what we should see as they're making their way into our area. Are they calling for any bad tornado outbreaks? No. So no, not for, again, the area that's likely dealing with the worst in terms of tornado outbreak is more into the Mississippi River Valley going into this evening. Already getting confirmed tornadoes in that location, but that's not, obviously not us, right? No, we're not anticipating that of an outbreak, a tornado outbreak in our area. Not anticipated for the overnight hours. Could a tornado happen? Yes, unfortunately, right? We can't rule it out. So that's why we're still not going to take this lightly. The potential is there for damaging winds, large hail, tornado. Those are all on the table if we were to happen to see a severe thunderstorm in our area, but likely not dealing with an outbreak per se, right? Not likely anything that's widespread, but the potential is there. Christopher says, I'm calling for severe weather level 3 of 5 for severe weather. Christopher's saying, he said Christopher's calling for more of that enhanced to dealing with more of that more numerous severe thunderstorms is what Christopher's thinking going into the overnight hours. And yeah, I definitely agree with you. More into western Ohio, maybe central Ohio. Probably not so much here locally, though, by the time it reaches us. How much hail for tonight and when will be? Diane says, how much hail for tonight and how wind will there be tonight with the storms? Yeah, we can have some more hail into the overnight hours with these storms and some damaging winds. The potential is there, yes. In addition to that potential for a tornado, all three threats are on the table, unfortunately, in the overnight hours. So yes, we could see it again. Don't really anticipate it being widespread, but nonetheless, we still can't rule out at least a severe thunderstorm. So certainly going to keep a close eye on it. They're calling for a 3 out of 5 for a high tornado outbreak for our area. No, we're not. No, we're not in that. We're not in a high tornado outbreak. No, that is false. We're not in that for us here overnight. Again, there's certainly some higher tornado concerns right now into this, that will be extending into the southeast, Mississippi River Valley. That's not for us, though, here into the Ohio Valley, into eastern Ohio, the northern panhandle. Severe risk present, yes. Is it a high risk, widespread risk, tornado outbreak, severe weather outbreak? No, it's not for our area. It should, the trend should be weakening. We still can deal with some severe weather, but I think it's a far stretch to call it a tornado outbreak or a high risk scenario. That neither of those anticipated for us going into tomorrow morning. Richard said, I got to drive to work about 3 a.m. Yeah, you could very well be driving in it, unfortunately, right around that time, Richard, about 3 a.m. Could very well be driving in it. Maybe not so much if you're in the northern panhandle and into more. So if you're Tyler, Wetzel, Marshall, Ohio, into Monroe, Belmont County, I think locations that are going to be further towards in general southeast into our area. Maybe not quite for those locations yet, depending on where you live. Might be able to beat that rain into work. So it just depends. If you're towards Tuscarawas County, Carroll County, and then looking towards Harrison County, Jefferson, Guernsey County, those locations generally further northwest into our area will likely start to see some of that by that point. So it kind of just depends on, you might get lucky enough, Richard, to be able to beat that rain into work. Might get lucky enough. Christopher says the rain I was watching, the NAM model has rain coming in before 12 a.m. Should be holding off a little bit past that, Christopher, in terms of the timing of it. Should be a bit past that at least, if not a little bit further. So shouldn't be coming in before 12 a.m. We have some right now, right? We still have some showers to deal with here this evening. They'll start to taper off early on tonight, and then that core threat of we're watching that line of storms that won't be arriving till likely later than that into early tomorrow morning. Christopher saying, I think the rain will start midnight tonight till 7 a.m. Monday. I think Christopher's going to be a bit past that mark for us here, Eastern Ohio, the Northern Panhandle. Justice says, just got a lightning notification in Neff, still getting some lightning registered within some of these lingering cells, continuing here early on tonight. I will notice that our Severe Weather T9 mobile app, it is really cool how it does notify you. I'm not sure if that's what you have there, Justin, but it is really cool how it notifies you if there is lightning registered near you. Very handy tool to have, that Severe Weather T9 mobile app, to be able to notify you and keep you updated as we extend over the next several days. It's a useful tool to have, that's for sure. Another link, Ivan and Francis, Justin says, update for Carroll County, Chelsea says. So there's no specific update for each county. The risk is essentially similar across the area. We're dealing with that potential for severe thunderstorm later tonight, damaging winds, large hail, tornado are all possible. The timing is going to be getting closer to about 2 a.m. And then I'd say continuing up to maybe about 5 a.m. That's the initial arrival time. It's going to be late tonight. It's going to be late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And we're not drying up for the morning commute tomorrow, but our severe risk will fall off at that point. We'll be dealing with showers occasionally throughout the day tomorrow. We're going to be dealing with another thunderstorm possible in the afternoon. The severe risk looks low going through Thursday. Maybe something isolated, again, redeveloping Thursday afternoon. Damaging winds, large hail would be the primary concern at that point. But I think the overall bigger concern than severe weather is potential for areas of flooding. It could be more localized. It's just a matter of where we see some rounds of heavy rain set up. That's going to be hard to pinpoint a single location, unfortunately. But if we are seeing some rounds of heavy rain set up over the same location throughout Thursday into Friday morning, then we could be dealing, unfortunately, with some flooding concerns as well. And I think that could be the higher concern with respect to severe weather from that period of Thursday going into Friday morning. And again, Thursday night into Friday morning is when we're dealing with even more of a steady rain across our area, tapering back to more of a few showers later into the day Friday, and then increasing in coverage again Friday night into Saturday, and maybe more of a steady rain going into Sunday morning. So yeah, we're certainly just getting a lot of rain through the weekend, about 2 to 4 inches of rains possible during this stretch. Again, if you're wondering about the Ohio River levels anticipated, the forecast now is to remain below flood stage. We also have to keep in mind that they're not quite 100% accurate until the rain actually falls, unfortunately. It's the way those river level forecasts go. And, the crest would not be occurring until we get towards the end of the weekend, early next week. So that's something we're just going to have to keep an eye on for now. And, as it stands now, likely not dealing with any flooding along the Ohio River until, we do get towards Sunday to Monday. If we are going to see any, that's when it would occur. That's when the crest will occur. Those water levels is when a lot of this rain will finally start to taper off going into early next week. So that's something else to watch for. We'll keep an eye on it. Again, as it stands now, not anticipated to reach flood stage, but something we'll keep an eye on. And those forecasts for the river levels will become much more accurate, likely by towards the end of the weekend and early next week. Once we start to see how much rain actually fell over the next few days, then that's taken into consideration to the forecast. And then it becomes a lot more accurate that we can get a better idea on the crest of those water levels for the Ohio River going into next week. Update for Columbiana County. So again, a lot of what I'm saying here, it's pretty similar across the area. There's no specific location where, the severe risk is just going to completely cut off in our area. These are going to be moving in from the west-northwest. So, if there was a little bit higher risk, it would likely be towards areas along I-77, Tuscarawas County, especially probably if I had to pick one county that had a little higher risk than others, I would be towards Tuscarawas County, but it's fairly similar in our area. Just what to know as soon as they're, making their way near us, near our area and through our area, they're likely weakening. So, potential is still there that it could pack enough of a punch, if you will, to maybe see a severe thunderstorm warning, maybe a few. I mean, it's still possible, but I'm not anticipating widespread concerns or an outbreak of any kind. But something we're going to keep still a close eye on. As again, keep in mind any severe thunderstorm as if it moves into our area, maintaining its strength. Unfortunately, that potential is there for damaging winds, large hail, and even a tornado. It cannot be ruled out. So that's why we're still not taking this lightly going into tomorrow morning. But the worst of this should certainly stay further towards our west. With the late arrival time, it's been a blessing for our area, not only Sunday night, but tonight. So we are really getting saved from the worst of these rounds of severe weather with this late arrival time. Really, it's been a blessing for us to have this late into the night. I know it's not good to have a severe weather risk late at night, but that also then helps lessen the overall risk for severe weather when we're getting it that late into the night. So it's good and bad thing, I guess you could say, in that regard. So yes, Bethany, the storms weakening. Yes, they will be by the time they reach us. Again, they'll likely maintain some of their strength moving into western Ohio, even central Ohio. We can very well see more severe thunderstorm warnings, maybe some tornado warnings, even going through central Ohio, north central Ohio. But as they start to make their way through east central Ohio, here in eastern Ohio, just like what we saw Sunday night, is when we should start to see a weakening trend. Again, I don't want to say it's a exact repeat of Sunday night. I don't want to say that, but that weakening trend that we saw Sunday night should occur again for us going at this point. Now, is it as drastic of a weakening trend? I think that's a bigger question, right? Is it going to be as drastic of a weakening trend where those storms really just fall apart by the time they reach us? It's possible, but I don't want to say it's going to be exact copy and paste of Sunday night, but certainly anticipating a weakening trend over us, at least, if not shortly before they reach us as well. Suzanne's asking, is there a threat for severe weather over the few days, not counting tomorrow? I think a severe risk should start to fall off. I don't foresee as much of a severe risk going into the weekend, Suzanne. I think the attention will really start to turn to flooding concerns, where we can deal with, at least a few instances of flooding. And I think we could deal with that. The two time periods to watch would be tomorrow into Friday morning. And then I'd watch again Saturday into Sunday morning. So I think those are the two time periods to watch. And I think that's where our attention will really start to turn to, is more into the potential for some flooding in spots. I think that's where the attention will start to turn instead of dealing with severe weather. I think that'll be the higher concern going through the weekend. Christopher says, will the storms continue to weaken? Yes, anticipating the storms weakening. They'll still likely maintain some of their strength. Western Ohio, central Ohio, but they should start to weaken going into the latter part of tonight by the time they reach us. Will you be watching the maps during the? Yes, I will, Renee. We'll be watching. I already talked with Jeff, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Vexline. We've been communicating about these storms, and both anticipating that weakening trend, but we're both going to be keeping a close eye on it. Jeff likely going to be in a little earlier tomorrow morning as well. So he'll be here to keep you guys updated through the early morning hours, even leading up to News Night Sunrise. And yeah, I'll be staying up likely a lot of tonight as well, keeping a very close eye on this. And of course, if we're dealing with these storms moving in, even as early as 2 a.m., and if we see a watch issued, I'll certainly still even be here to be able to watch those as well. If we have any watch issued, I will certainly still be here. I won't be going anywhere in the event of a watch issued, but I do anticipate with the arrival time being very late. I don't know if we will see a watch again tonight, but if we do, I will certainly be here with that watch active to be, keeping an eye on it. And if need be, if we're dealing with several severe thunderstorm warnings in our area, then we'll likely be doing a live stream. Depending on the time, maybe even getting, even Jeff might be joining you for the live stream as well early in the morning, just depending on how the timing goes and how many, if we're dealing with several severe thunderstorm warnings. But we'll certainly, Jeff and I not going anywhere, right? We'll keep you updated. It'll be one of us. We're both keeping a close eye on it going through the night and into tomorrow morning. So we won't be going anywhere. Of course, you can watch the social media, Nathan Shutt News 9. So even if, we're not doing the live stream but we can stay tuned there for updates. We only had the one warning Sunday night, didn't do a live stream, but I was there updating it very frequently on my Facebook page, Nathan Shutt News 9. So a great resource to have there. If we're not per se dealing with a very high amount of severe, if we're not dealing with a lot of severe weather threats in our area or warnings, and it looks like a lot of these storms are starting to really fall apart and weakening, then I'll certainly give that update for you, like I did into Sunday night. So it's a good way to to keep tuned to the forecast to stay updated. You can catch the latest updates, Nathan Shutt News 9. Of course, Jeff Xline News 9 as well. He'll watch his page as well going into the early morning hours on Thursday once he comes in and takes hold of takes over kind of the coverage and then going through Thursday morning. Make sure to stay tuned with Jeff for the latest at that point as well. And of course, tune in. News 9 Sunrise, if you're up early enough, it starts at 5 a.m. That first update, 4:56. So even a little bit before 5 a.m., you can get an update on air with News 9 Sunrise. Jeff Exxon will be in to keep you guys updated then going throughout the morning hours. From there, looking ahead into next week, we're going to be spotting a cool down. Temperatures 50s Monday, 40s Tuesday. It's a chilly day Tuesday, and we'll be watching Monday night into Tuesday. Suzanne already mentioning this, but I do think that we could spot some snow showers in the mix with that rain going into early next week. So we'll be watching for that going into Tuesday, maybe spotting some rain, snow showers overnight Monday into Tuesday, maybe some flurries even lingering into Tuesday morning. So we'll be watching that after dealing with these rounds of rain and thunderstorms going through the weekend. It's in general, it's a lot quieter next week. It's a lot drier, thankfully, something that we're going to certainly need after dealing with the rain this week. And yes, it's going to be chilly. We're going to see likely a little bit of snow at least fall into early next week. So we'll be watching for that. Yes. So good to mention, Suzanne. Yes, we'll certainly be watching for that. Renee says, thanks. You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in as always. Appreciate everyone tuning in. You're very welcome, Bethany, as well. Thank you for tuning in this evening with me. Ruth says, I'll most likely be up all night watching and refreshing Facebook. Ruth is going to be staying up watching that. Yeah. And of course, I'll keep you updated, of course, as we go throughout the night. And you can always watch me coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 tonight at 11. We'll have the latest for you on how those storms stand at that point. At that point, there's still likely more Western Ohio making their way towards Central Ohio or into Central Ohio. But certainly keep you updated to see if we'll have a watch issued by then, or get kind of the general thinking and on how these storms might be holding up as they make their way into our area. So, of course, I'll give you the latest information at that point. And even after that, I can stick around a little bit longer if we were happen to have a watch issued. I'll stay here, certainly keep an eye on things. But in general, certainly we'll be keeping a close eye on these storms as we go through the night to give you guys the latest on what we'll be watching as we go into tomorrow morning. And of course, like I mentioned, by News 9 Sunrise, make sure to stay tuned with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Exline for the latest then tomorrow morning. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Again, watch for the latest updates. The News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 tonight 11. My Facebook page, Nathan Chutt News 9. I'll also have our updates there as we do extend into the overnight hours. I'll bring you the latest on how these storms are looking and the severe potential that we do have going into early tomorrow morning. For the latest then, as we go through the weekend, I will be off, but make sure to stay tuned with News 9 meteorologist Amanda Verrier, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Exline. Make sure to stay tuned with the latest with them as we go through the weekend, as again, I do think that it's less of a severe threat and going to be more of a flooding threat coming our way through the weekend as we see a lot of rain falling. And roughly about 2 to 4 inches of rain is possible during this stretch going through the weekend. And within these thunderstorms, if they begin to train or move over the same location, we could see even locally higher amounts than that. Yeah, a lot of rain. And yes, flooding concerns is there, unfortunately, going through the weekend. So that's what we'll be likely keeping a very close eye on and could very well be more of an impact with that in regard to severe weather going through the weekend. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll catch you coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 10 at 11. And I'll join you for that next edition of Nate at 8. Again, I'll be off going through the weekend, but I'll see you right back here where we get to likely discuss a little bit of snow and some much cooler temperatures going into Tuesday for that next edition of Nate at 8 on Monday evening. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and a great weekend. Make sure to stay weather aware going through the weekend. Stay safe, and I'll speak with all of you again Monday evening.